right, so we're 4 weeks out from my show. Things are getting critical. My energy level is extremely low, and my carbs in the program is gonna turn up today. My coach, Phil, Viz, he's busy watching the Pittsburgh Pro right now because once again, he got a lot of people that he used to coach in that competition. So once he's done watching that, he's gonna get to my program. This is the most challenging part of the entire prep. Like up until now, you know, the routine is set, the carbs are decent, so you can like, you know, I can still function normally, but at this point, it gets to that point where you're just trying to really manage your energy throughout the day. And so everything has to be like scheduled. You know, you have to wake up on time, get your cardio done, make sure you eat and train, because if your schedule gets thrown off and you try to do it later on in the day, it's gonna be craziness, right? You're just gonna be too tired, you're gonna be thrown off. And so that's why I always tell people success is in your routine, and that really applies to me in this moment. So today, 4 weeks out, I'm gonna go through a push workout, shoulder dominant, hit a little bit of chest and triceps, and yeah, let's get after it. Damn, I almost started my workout without my necklaces on. These necklaces, they hold a lot of meaning to me. I know some of you know the story, but this pennant right here, I've been wearing it ever since my dad passed away. It's reminding me of his legacy, what he wants me to do in life, you know? The life he wants me to live, keep pushing, keep driving. That's how my dad was. My dad was a hard ass. Strict as fuck, right? Cop. Football player, bodybuilder just like me. Can't talk about some of the stuff that used to happen to me when I was a kid, you know, because it's not appropriate, but I love him to death. And all the lessons he taught me, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for him. So I rock this proudly all the time. So whenever you see this, that's what it represents. Love you, Pops. So I always start my push days off with what's called a tri-set, which is lateral raises, 9, 10, followed by front raises, 1, 2, 3, followed by overhead press. So you do 10, 10, and 10. Your shoulders are arguably the most intricate joint in your body, right? All this rotation, that's why people get so many shoulder injuries. So when you're doing a push day, chest, shoulders, you wanna make sure that they are crazy warmed up. If you jump into it too soon, you're gonna risk an injury. And once again, at this age, nobody can afford to be out the game for 5-6 weeks because your shoulder's jacked up, right? We wanna work smarter, not harder, especially as we age, right? We have to think about longevity, we gotta think about recovery, we gotta think about hydration. There's a lot more to getting in shape than just crushing weights. Crushing weights is the easy part. Hey. So when I'm doing a push day, typically I'll do two push days a week. Follow the cycle, push, pull, and legs. On one push day, it'll be shoulder dominant. On the next push day, it'll be chest dominant. All right, so today is a shoulder focused push day because I did a chest focused one about 3 days ago. When you are pushing and tired, there's a balance between, like, you know, not wanting to be a bitch and getting it done, because my energy is shot, but gotta keep pushing. All right, so we started with the tricep to warm up the shoulder joints. I did the isolateral shoulder press on the machine. Now I'm going to the Arsenal strength lateral raise, right? Press, lateral raise. So obviously when I was growing up, an athlete, played football all the time, you do a lot of explosive movements, right? Olympic lifts. And so it's very different than bodybuilding. In bodybuilding, you want to be wide, right? You want to create that V taper where you have wide shoulders and a slim waist. So when you play football, you're doing all these cleans, you're doing all these motions that are up. I used to be trap dominant. That's why a lot of athletes are trap dominant. They have huge traps, right? But they're narrow. So for the last like 5 years, I've had to do so much shoulder work, lateral raises, just for my shoulders to balance out with the rest of my physique so I could be wider up top. Woo. Yes, sir. A lot of people ask how many reps, right? Rep range is very big when people think about exercise routines, right? You think about strength, you're in the 3 to 5 rep range. You think about hypertrophy, right? Hypertrophy means growing muscle, building muscle. That range, you'd be in like the 8 to 10 rep range, right? Conditioning, which starts to go into high volume, you'd be in the, 10 to 12 rep range. And then high volume, you could think about 15 to 20. When you're training on contest prep and your objective is conditioning to the max, there's no real rep count, right? Of course you want to do a weight where you roughly get to 10, 12, right? But if you get to 12 and you can still go, then you're just going to keep pushing. Because the more you can burn that muscle up, the more lines are going to come out, the more definition is going to come in. So like right there, I was going for 12, got to 12 and could keep going. I ended up doing 18 before I'm like, okay, I'm tapping out, right? Like, you stop when you're finished, right? And your body will tell you when you're finished. Back on to take you on. So during my workouts, right? If you think about the phases of energy your body uses during a workout, it goes like this. So for the first 25 to 30 minutes, you're burning up your glycogen, right? Glycogen is all your carbs, all the fucking rice and stuff that you eat. So you're burning up your glycogen. For the next 15 to 20 minutes, that's when you're using your protein as a fuel source, right? If you're training at a good pace for 45 minutes, once you get to 45, 50 minutes, that's when you're in the fat burning zone. That means the actual source that your body's using for energy is fat, right? That's from like minute 50 on if you're working out at a good pace. And so if you're doing cardio and you're working out at the same time, you do your cardio after the workout. Why is that? If you do your cardio in the first 30 minutes, right? That's the energy, your glycogen, that's the energy your body wants to use as fuel to train your muscles, to get nice, full, and round. And you're burning it up doing cardio. Not what you should be doing. You warm up for 5 minutes, you strength train for 40 minutes. Then you do your cardio and you're in the fat burning zone. So if you wanna get that lean physique, right? Start leaning out that waistline, your cardio gets done after the workout. Remember that. All right, so we're going from lateral raises to the Arnold press. And so it's another pressing motion. Reality is anything that Arnold did, you should do, right? It's just old school bodybuilding basics. People try to mix it up nowadays and come up with, oh, you should do this and you should do that. I'm like, if you stick to the fundamentals, squats, deadlifts, bench press, I mean, those are the staples and foundation of bodybuilding. You don't gotta get too complicated. You don't gotta get all into this new school, new age, oh, do this, do that. Keep it basic.
Yo!
Oh!
What's up?
Look who I stumbled into in the gym.
What's going on?
Another rock star. All right, here we have Amanda, owner of Boundless Nutrition. She fucking deadlifts 400 and what, 15?
415.
415.
Failed 435 at my last comp.
Okay,
Got it past the knee though, almost there, next time.
All right, so question.
Yeah.
Because I love your dedication to fitness.
Thank you.
And what you're doing in the entrepreneurial space, right?
Thank you so much.
So, you're 26, you're a business owner, and you get after it every day. What keeps you grounded in your discipline to keep moving forward?
It's pretty simple. I never want to get to the day where I'm dying, right? And I'm like, I didn't live up to my full potential. Ooh. I never want to think back and be like, I should have did this. I could have tried harder at this. I want to know I put my 100% effort into everything I do. Nobody's coming to save you. You got to put the work in every day, whether it's business, relationships, your faith, life, training, everything. No one's doing it for you.
That reminds me of one of Les Brown's quotes where he talks about the graveyard is full of dead people, but he's not literally talking about them being dead. He's talking about their ideas, right? Their ideas that they thought about when they were 20 but never even acted on them, right? Because they just let them go. They just let their life pass by in complacency, or they never took action, right? So I feel like what you're hitting on is the fact that you don't want to live a life that's unfulfilled or saying that you didn't try.
I think it's the worst feeling, you know, and I feel like God put something on our brain and on our heart, you know, to act on it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll talk about faith for a little bit. Like, yeah, you have faith, but you got to make action.
Yeah.
You got to put actions into play too as well. So.
You know, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm faith-based as well.
Right.
We actually go to the same church. I don't think you know that. Life Church.
Life Church New York. Shout out Pastor Wayne,
Exactly.
the best church ever.
And so I think that, you know, it's one thing to practice faith, but God is going to be with you no matter what. Whether you make bad decisions or good decisions.
Right.
There is still the respect you should have for yourself to make the choices you need to make in life, right?
Amen.
Like you can't always just say, I'm going to be okay, God's got me. He does have you. He has you no matter what.
Yeah.
You also still have the responsibility to have yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what I'm saying by that.
You got to put that faith into works.
Boom.
You know?
You got to put that faith into work.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love you.
Yo, that was good. Love you, bro.
Damn, Amanda, she's a rock star. For being so young, she's so smart. She's faced her challenges, her adversity, you know, and she's still come out on top. You know, I see her. I love when I see people just that I'm associated with killing the game, because it's one of those things like I love aligning myself with people that have that personality, right? You know, so many people in life that have that Debbie Downer personality. Every time you're around them, they're bringing you down. They always have problems. They're always pessimistic, and it's kind of just like, listen, life is hard. Life is hard enough as it is on its own, right? Like you don't have to add to it with your attitude, with your pessimistic attitude, and always have a negative outlook on things. So here we got some rear reverse flies, right? For the rear delts. Can't forget about the rear delts when you're hitting shoulders. All right, last exercise of the day, we're gonna do some upright rows. Once again, a staple to build the shoulders. Sometimes I use the easy bar, sometimes I use cables. Cable is easier to maneuver, so I'm gonna just rock with those for now. Oof. On all exercises you do, you wanna keep your core tight. It's one thing people forget, like your core is the most important aspect of your physical fitness in general. You have a strong core, the rest of your body can get strong, it's the base. And so whenever you're doing upright rows, bench pressing, squatting, anything, you wanna keep your core contracted. Oh yeah. This is where we do the handoff right here. So my workout just wrapped up, you know. She's dropping off because he got practice at 2:15. I was trying to finish some reels, but I don't have enough time, so we're gonna keep moving. And we're gonna see this little rock star get after it, right? Right? Come on, look, you're on YouTube right now. What do you wanna say? You wanna say something for YouTube? No? You sure? Come on, you don't wanna be a celebrity?
Who's the fastest?
Who's the fastest?
Me.
Who's the strongest?
Me.
Who's the smartest?
Who's the smartest?
Me.
Who is the fastest, strongest, smartest boy ever?
Me.
Hey, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Dribble. Go face this way, face this way. We go from the gym straight to the soccer practice. My little guy Maverick, I'm not just saying this because I'm his dad, but he's a phenom when it comes to sports. He's the fastest in his grade. You know, his athleticism is crazy. Football, he's probably the best player. And then in soccer, I have him in 2 leagues to make sure he develops these skills, right? But they had a game last season and it was like him versus the other team. The score was like 14-2. He scored 11 goals. Like that's the level he's at versus his competition right now. And once again, I get he's only turning 6. Actually, he's turning 6 in 3 days. But when you see that talent, you gotta nurture, right? I'm all about that. You gotta nurture what's there, and it's by choice. I'm not forcing anything on him, because if it was up to me, he would just stay in football. I don't really know soccer like that, but whatever. It all gets done in a day. Reality is that family is just as important to me as my own goals, and so I make sure that I make the time for both. There's always a rush. It's never perfect. I have this plan laid out. I planned on waking up earlier today, but I slept in a little bit because I'm super tired, you know? But reality is you just have to have that never give up attitude and just keep going, right? So another Saturday, baby, in the books. Week 4, we're gonna win. Let's go.